And welcome back to another episode of Chip Theory. Today I'm going to be talking about another modal key of the major scale. It's going to be the fifth mode of the major scale, or the Mixolydian mode. And the Mixolydian mode has a pattern of a whole step, a whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a half step, and a whole step. And that pattern can be easily recognized by understanding the Aeolian pattern in reverse. So if we know our natural minor scale pattern as whole, half, whole, half, whole, ascending, we know our Mixolydian mode because it's simply the Aeolian mode descending. So if we can say our natural minor scale pattern backwards, we have our Mixolydian mode. Again, here we have our chips laid out for the A Mixolydian mode. Here we have on the left A, and we have a series of white and blue poker chips. These are our white and black notes on the piano keyboard. And like all, um, I'd like everyone to recognize the pattern of white and blue chips here. This is how your piano is laid out. You have your group of two blue chips or black keys on the piano here in the center. This is going to be the note C here, and of course F over here. And here, of course, we have our group of three chips split up with the octave roundabout this way. So if we were to bring these two chips over here, we have our group of three right here. But in this instance, we're starting on A on the left, so we have them down here. So again, our pattern here is a white, blue, white, white, blue, white, blue, white, white, blue, white, blue. And these are how the keys would be if you were to like mask off with masking tape and paper your notes A to G sharp on the keyboard. So discussing today our Mixolydian mode in this position on the keyboard with the A as your keynote, and realizing the pattern of Mixolydian mode as whole, half, half, whole. The next thing we need to do is determine what the relative major key is of our A Mixolydian mode is, and we do that by counting 7 half steps down from the octave, because this being the 5th degree of our major scale that the mode is derived from, it will be 7 half steps or a fifth from the root of that key. So here we can count down 7 half steps: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It's going to bring us to the D note right here. Of course, D is somewhat symmetrical on the keyboard. As you look outwards, you have the blue chips and two white chips, and then alternating. I don't know why they don't call it middle D, but this is the D note. So here is our relative major key to our A Mixolydian mode, or the key that will share the key signature with A Mixolydian. Again, this is 7 half steps down, and it will be 5 half steps up because there are 12 half steps in the octave from A to A. Again, this will be a fourth in this direction, or 5 half steps, and the A will be the 5th of our D note, or 7 half steps from it. So we could simply play our D major scale starting on A to reach A Mixolydian, or we can use the pattern of Mixolydian mode, which is simply the natural minor scale backwards of a whole step, half step, whole step, half step. And of course the final whole step would be the A on this side. And we remove the notes that are not in our A Mixolydian mode. We have here the pattern fulfilled of a whole, whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole. And then downwards, of course, the Mixolydian mode descending is going to be your Aeolian pattern. Again, the notes will not be the Aeolian scale, it will still be the Mixolydian mode scale. However, the pattern will be the Aeolian pattern. So it's whole, half, whole, half, whole. Again, to form the scale of our pattern, it's always ascending. So if you use a pattern, you always want to use the pattern going to the right or ascending to reach that particular scale that you're after, okay? Again, we're left with the notes here: A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and G. Again, if you were to compare the A Mixolydian mode to an A major scale, you can easily see here that the 7th note, or the G, which would normally be G sharp in A major, has been flatted to G natural, which is the trademark of a Mixolydian scale. Every Mixolydian scale has a flat 7 for the major scale built from its keynote for comparison. Also, we can see here that the relative major note, the D, is on the 4th degree of Mixolydian. So we have our 2 sharps here, F sharp and C sharp from D major, which is positioned on the 4th of the Mixolydian mode. So we can also see if we move our D note down to the beginning, we have our D major scale here. This is B, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and C sharp. And if we number these scale degrees, D is 1, E is 2, F sharp is 3, G is 4, A is 5, B is 6, and C sharp is 7. We can then use those scale degrees when we move back to our Mixolydian position, starting on the 5th degree, or A, because A is a 5th of D. So we can move back to our Mixolydian position, and we can remember our scale degrees as numbers. We have 5, 6, 7, root, 2, 3, and 4 of our relative major, or the D major scale. Again, 5 is G, 5 is A, 6 is B, 7 is C sharp, root is D, 2 is E, 3 is F sharp, and 4 is G for our A Mixolydian mode. Okay, realizing that, we can then form triads from our A Mixolydian scale using alternating scale degrees. And then we skip one, play the next note, and skip one and play the next note. So these are, from your relative major, scale degrees 5, 7, and 2, which are going to be A, C sharp, and E. And 5, 7, 2 is always major. Our second one is the 6 root 3 chord from D, B, D, and F sharp, which is a minor chord. B, D, F sharp, B minor. Our third one is going to be the 7, 2, 4 scale degrees, which are always diminished. C sharp, E, and G. The fourth one here is a relative major. It's going to be root 3rd and 5th, D, F sharp, A. Our fifth one is going to be 2, 4, 6. The 2, 4, 6 chord is minor here on the 5th position. Again, the 5 chord of every Mixolydian mode is minor. It's going to be E, G, and B. sixth chord is minor as well. It's the 3-5-7 chord. Here we have F sharp, A, and C. Again, those are scale degrees, the 3, 5, and 7 of a relative major of D. 3 being the F sharp, 5 being the A, and 7 being C sharp. Again, the seventh chord is a flat 7. This is our flat 7 note, or the G natural. It's been flatted from G sharp, the 4th note of a relative major. We have G, B, and D, 4, 6, root, which is our flat 7 major chord. G, B, and D. Okay, so those are going to be the triads of your A Mixolydian mode. You have a major, a minor, diminished, major, minor, minor, and major. Using that same principle, we can form the 7th chords of the scale by using alternating scale degrees and adding a 4th note here, and keeping our scale degrees from the relative major. We can easily determine the first chord is a 5-7-2-4, 5-7-2-4 of D, or A, C sharp, E, and G natural. Oops, G natural is a white key on the piano. There we go. The A, C sharp, E, G natural is a 4-3-3 spacing, or a dominant 7 chord, meaning that there's a minor third above the A major triad. The 5-7-2 chord of D, we're adding the 4th note of D, or the G, to it. Again, this chord will always have a 1+2 interval here and a 2+1 for its minor thirds in all keys on the 5-7-2-4 dominant 7 chord. Our second chord is a 6-root-3-5 chord of D, B, D, F sharp, and A. I'm giving you a B minor 7 in this case. You're on the second chord of A Mixolydian, 6-root-3-5. Again, our 6-root-3-5 chord always has the pattern of half steps on its minor thirds of a 2+1 here and a 1+2 here. Our third chord is going to be the 7-2-4-6 chord, which is a half diminished 7. Again, 7-2-4-6 is always half diminished, and it's on the third position of Mixolydian. C sharp, E, G, and B. Again, you have a major third here between G and B above a diminished triad, 7, 2, 4, and 6. So between the scale degrees 4 and 6 of D is a major third, or G and B, right? It's major third. On the bottom you have minor thirds, a 1+2 and a 2+1. Again, this is from F sharp to A. You have F sharp to G is 1 half step, and G to A is 2 half steps. So we're calling this a 1+2. And then from 2 to 4 is a 2+1, or E to G. You have E to F sharp is 2 half steps, and F sharp to G is 1. Again, that will hold true for all keys on the 7-2-4-6 chord. You're going to have a 1+2 and a 2+1 with a major third between the 4 and 6 scale degrees. Here on the fourth chord, we have a root 3-5-7. This was our relative major. D, F sharp, A, and C sharp, which spells a major 7 chord, a 4-3-4 spacing with a 1+2 interval for the minor third and the center between the 3 and the 5 intervals and scale degrees. Okay, here on the fifth chord, it was a minor, the 2-4-6 root chord. It's going to be E, G, B, and D. 2, 4, 6 root of a relative major of D major. Here on the 5th position of A Mixolydian. We have E, G, B, and D, and E minor 7. Again, 2, 4, 6 root scale degrees always have 2 plus 1s for both of their minor third intervals here. In the 3, 4, 3 spacing, we have 2 plus 1 here and a 2 plus 1 here. So between 2 and 4 and 6 and root are both 2 plus 1s. Here on the 6th degree, we have the 3, 5, 7, 2 chord, F sharp, A, C sharp, and E, F sharp minor 7. Again, the 3, 5, 7, 2 scale degrees always have 1 plus 2s for their minor thirds. So although these are both minor 7 chords with 3, 4, 3 spacings, along with this one on the 2nd position, these three here, the 2nd, the 5th, and the 6th are all minor 7s, 3, 4, 3 spacings. They're all slightly different in that their minor thirds are either 2 plus 1 or 1 plus 2, right? So this one has 1 plus 2s for both on the 3, 5, 7, 2. This one, starting on the 2nd degree, has 2 plus 1s, and on the 6th degree has a 2 plus 1 here and a 1 plus 2 here. So it kind of switches it up and has one of either. All right. So our flat 7 chord, finally, is the 4, 6 root 3 of a relative major, G, B, D, and F sharp. This is going to be a 4, 3, 4 spacing. Our flat 7, major 7, starting on G, G, B, D, F sharp, and it's going to have a 2 plus 1 between the 6 and the root. All right, those are going to be your chords of A Mixolydian. Again, the scale degrees along the bottom were 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, and 4 of a relative major of D. And we can talk now about the inversions of these chords and go over those. Assuming the scale degrees are the same, we're going to discuss now the intervals of the chords in their inversions. So starting here with the 1 chord, we have the dominant 7, which is a 4, 3, 3 in root position. 4 half steps here, 3 half steps here, and 3 half steps here. Always in root position in major, right? This is A, C sharp, E, and G. When we invert this now, we're going to have a series of half steps of 3, 3, and 2. Starting on here on the C sharp, or the 3rd of our A dominant 7. So we have C sharp, E, G, and A. Here we have the 3, 2, 4 inversion, starting on E, E, G, A, C sharp, to our 2, 4, 3 position, half steps, a series of half steps from the bottom to top, right? 2, 4, 3, and 2nd and 3rd inversion. We have G, A, C sharp, and E. Coming down is E, C sharp, A, and G. C sharp, A, G, E. A, G, E, C sharp, and G, E, C sharp, A. Again, this was our dominant 7 form. This is the 5, 7, 2, 4 chord of a relative major. 5, 7, 2, 4 are scale degrees, okay, of D. Here we have the minor 7 chord starting on the 6th scale degree of D, 6 root 3, 5. It's going to be B, D, F sharp, and A, a 3, 4, 3 spacing, or series of half steps. 3, 4, and 3. When we invert this, we have 4, 3, 2 position starting on D, D, F sharp, A, and B, to our 3, 2, 3 spacing for minor 7 chords, starting on F sharp, A, B, and D, to 2, 3, 4 spacing, starting on A, B, D, and F sharp. Moving down is F sharp, D, B, A, D, B, A, F sharp, B, A, F sharp, B, and A, F sharp, D, and B. Our third chord here was the 7, 2, 4, 6 half diminished chord. It's a 3, 3, 4 spacing here starting on C sharp. When we invert this, we have a 3, 4, 2 position starting on E, G, B, C sharp, to our 4, 2, 3 position starting on G, B, C sharp, and E. Finally to our 2, 3, 3 position starting on B, C sharp, E, and G. Moving down is G, E, C sharp, B, E, C sharp, B, G, C sharp, B, G, E, and B, G, E, C sharp, C sharp half diminished 7. Our fourth position chord is our relative major, root 3, 5, 7 of D, D, F sharp, A, C sharp. It's a 4, 3, 4 position. When we invert a 4, 3, 4, we're left with a 3, 4, 1 series of half steps starting on F sharp, A, C sharp, D, to a 4, 1, 4 position starting on A, F sharp, D, A, C sharp, D, F sharp, to C sharp, D, F sharp, A. This is a 1, 4, 3, C sharp, D, F sharp, A. Coming down is A, F sharp, D, C sharp, F sharp, D, C sharp, A, D, C sharp, A, F sharp, and C sharp, A, F sharp, D. Our fifth position was a minor chord, which was the 2, 4, 6 root minor 7 chord. It's a 3, 4, 3 spacing as well. Here it's starting on E, G, B, and D. 3, 4, 3 series of half steps starting on E, G, B, D. First inversion, we're left with a 4, 3, 2 position starting on G, B, D, and E. A 3, 2, 3 position starting on B, D, E, and G, to a 2, 3, 4 inversion starting on D, E, G, and B. Coming down is B, G, E, D, G, E, D, B, E, D, B, G, and D, B, G, E, or E minor 7, here on the fifth position of Mixolydian. Our sixth chord is another minor 7, the 3, 5, 7, 2 scale degrees of D, F sharp, A, C sharp, and E. Another 3, 4, 3 position. When we invert this, we have a 4, 3, 2 position starting on A, C sharp, E, F sharp, to a 3, 2, 3 position starting on C sharp, C sharp, E, F sharp, A, to our 2, 3, 4, starting on E, E, F sharp, A, C sharp. Coming down to C sharp, A, F sharp, E, A, F sharp, E, C sharp, F sharp, E, C sharp, A, and E, C sharp, A, F sharp. And finally, our 7th chord, our flat 7 chord, is a major 7, starting on G, G, B, D, F sharp. This is a flat 7, major 7 for a Mixolydian mode. It's a 4-3-4 spacing. When we invert our G, we have a 3-4-1 starting on B, B, D, F sharp, and G. To a 4-1-4 starting on D, D, F sharp, G, B. To our 1-4-3 starting on F sharp, G, B, and D. Coming down is D, B, G, F sharp, B, G, F sharp, D, G, F sharp, D, B, and F sharp, D, B, G for flat 7, G, major 7. Again, the chords were an A7. Again, the one chord is dominant, Mixolydian. A7, the B minor 7, C sharp, half diminished 7, D major 7, E minor 7, F sharp minor 7, and flat 7, G major 7. Those are going to be your chords of the A Mixolydian mode.